Welcome to another edition of the Coach Alexander Show. I'm Kim Assad, Mustang mom, and your local real estate broker with Compass Real Estate. Enjoy the show. Go Mustangs!
Hello Mustang Nation, Matt Carnes, Grapevine Booster here for Week 10 of the Coach Mike Alexander Show, Team 100 season, along with head coach Mike Alexander. And coach, the regular season is done.
It's done.
It came fast, it got here fast, it got over even faster, but before we get into all this stuff, let's just reflect on Team 100 in the regular season.
Well, man, Team 100 had experienced a lot of adversity. It was different kinds of adversity from Team 99. Team 99, it was all, stadium renovations and playing on the road and things like that. Team 100, boy, we've been through the ringer on injuries, and it started early with Tanner Salmons against Azle, and then having to leave that game with a broken rib, and then Scrap hurts his knee, just jumping, essentially after a play against Northwest, and that just kind of started a snowball effect. And most of the stuff hasn't been really severe. It's just been a lot of small things that have created an issue where we haven't really played with the same lineup for a couple weeks in a row this whole season. Team 99 was blessed to not have a lot of injuries, but Team 100, they've been through it, but they battled and accomplished our number one goal, which is to make the state playoffs. And so I'm proud of them for that. Those guys, they had to win some tough ones, some close ones, to get it done throughout district play, but found a way to get it done every week, and here we are. We're staring a 11th game in the face and getting to go back where we started this whole thing.
Well, we'll get into that in a minute, but the other teams along the way had a good season as well. So before we get into the playoffs and this week's game, let's talk about the freshman and the JV program, because the future's definitely bright, and as we saw with the freshman and JV teams, they're both very strong. There's
no doubt. I think our freshmen were 14-5 on the year overall, and they have all the ingredients to be a really, really strong class for us. They have some tough kids in the offensive and defensive line. They have some really talented, skilled kids. They just need an off season. They need an off season to learn, how we do things at Grapevine, and they need an off season to get tougher, to craft their skills a little bit more. But we're really excited about our freshmen. Got a great group of freshman parents too that are supportive and have a servant's heart and just want to do well for their young people, and so that's been fun. And then on the JV, we were able to maintain two teams the whole year. Our numbers were strong. JV Blue team really played well all year, and I'll contribute a lot of that to their offensive line. Our JV Blue offensive line, they're smart kids. They know who to block. They do their assignment well, and they just execute. When you're playing a JV B team on a Thursday night, you can tell the kids that have been coached and the kids that haven't. And they had several games where they were completely outmanned. If you look on paper on who they were playing, but once the game gets started, man, they just went to work and out-executed teams, and they finished up the season 6-3. Lost a heartbreaker to Carroll the other night. That was a really tough game. Lost 14-10. Had to lead a couple times throughout the game. But they played great. We're really proud of them. In the JV Red, they won it in different ways. There were some games where we played really strong on defense and won some close ones because of our defense. There were some games where we scored points fast and hit people with big plays. So that group of kids we're excited about, and they're gonna have to step up next year and come in. And some of them right now in the playoffs are, we're looking to make an impact.
Well, they're here, and it is that time. But the last game of the season starts, of course, with Breakfast of Champions. Kenny Kane came in and spoke, and he talked about attitude and mindset. Mm-hmm. And as you're coming in for the final game, you're looking forward to the playoffs. You've got a team that hadn't won a game yet. he talked about attitude and mindset and how important it is to stay focused.
Yeah.
And fast forward to game night, it looked like the team was ready for what they needed to do.
Yeah, Kenny did a great job of, giving our kids a life lesson to hold on to there too, because that's not just about the game of football. In life, you don't attack life based on, your circumstances. You get consistent and have a champion's mindset and do everything with excellence. And that's part of our mission statement, to do everything with excellence. And so I appreciate Kenny for bringing that word. And we did, the locker room naturally was a little looser than it typically is. It was a senior night. We had a lot of new faces up in the locker room from the JV that we'd moved up, and even the freshman team. And so, it was a little bit looser, but once game time started, our guys were locked in and focused, and everybody played well. We had 2 drops. Other than that, our quarterbacks would have been 100%, on their passes, and so everything was on point, and we took care of business like we should have.
Well, and it was a fun game. But before we get into that, let's talk about senior night. Let's see if we can keep you together while we're talking about senior night.
Yeah, that was special. I don't know that, this is my first time to be able to coach my kid through a senior night, and I have daughters after Austin, so I don't know if I'll do it again, or probably won't. But it's special because you develop a little tighter, I think, relationship with the players from the time they were freshmen, because it's not just my players, it's my players, but it's also my son's friends, and so it's different. And to see those guys walk out the door, and we did all of our hugs and stuff on Thursday night at our team meeting, and that was the emotional piece for me, because I wrote every one of our seniors a little note and put it in their locker and let them know how appreciative I was of them and what they've given to our football program. And on the way out the door, getting hugs from each one of them, it was emotional, and it always is, when you say goodbye to your seniors, and I think if it's not, then as a coach, you're probably not putting into it what you need to.
I would agree with that, but it's been a special group of seniors, and they move on and take care of business. They're going to be moving on, obviously, to the playoffs now. We'll get into that in a minute, but let's take a look at the game and tell us what all you saw from a coach's perspective.
Well, the story of the night was the young kids getting in. We moved up quite a few JV players and even a freshman up to get some time. And so what we're going to look at here is just our 11 scoring plays. And I'll say before we get started, we might have set a state record on 11 different players scored touchdowns in the game. Nobody scored more than one. We had 11 different guys, so that was kind of a neat deal on senior night. Get started off with Caleb Tejada just running a little power to the right side like we've grown accustomed to doing, and he creases it and finds the end zone. I think that was play 2 or 3 of the night. And then this is the last series that the ones played, and so the very next series we come back and we throw what we call a shake route to Ben Gare, and he just starts off and he's going to go a little head fake inside, run his glance, and then comes back out, and Austin hits him for a touchdown. So that's the second guy to score. And then Elliott Hansen, same play, Caleb scores on. First series, Elliott finds himself in the end zone as well. So that's great for him as a senior running back to get in the end zone there. Come back, very next series, and this is Derek's first, I guess his second drive, and he does a good job, Derek Engel at quarterback, of just taking what the defense gives him, not forcing anything. And that's the hard thing as a quarterback when you're playing a team that you're superior to. You want to force the ball downfield and score touchdowns, but Derek does a good job of just taking the whip route. Chase Pano, another senior, getting in the end zone for his first touchdown of the year. Next drive, we got Max Cowgill in at quarterback, and he's going to connect with number 29 Parker Polk, one of the freshmen that we moved up. Polk's a dynamic, skill kid. Everybody that's watched our freshman games knows it. He's really made our freshman team go this year, and he's got great hands. He can play receiver, he can play running back, and we'll look for him to play against Azle a little bit here and there. Derek Engel back at quarterback. We just started rotating he and Max Cowgill, and Terrence Ramirez, another JV receiver that we moved up. And Terrence came out of basketball about midway through the year and said, "Coach, I'm missing football. I want to go play again." And so we moved him up from the JV. And Terrence is a super talented kid. He was a starter at times last year on the varsity basketball team as a freshman. And so we're excited about Terrence's future, and we're going to bring him up and keep him repping with us and try and find ways to get him the ball in the playoffs as well. Max Cowgill back at quarterback, hitting Sidney Hubbard, another JV receiver that we moved up on an out route. And everybody that watches the JV knows Sidney's super fast.
Definitely knows Sidney.
And so, Sidney's really come on late in the year and made some good plays for us on Thursday night. And he does a good job catching the ball with his hands, making one guy miss and scoring. This was a huge deal for me because Nick McWilliams, another senior running back, he and Elliott, Nick gets in the end zone for his touchdown. Love it when seniors get to score, especially on senior night. It's a great feeling for everybody. All right, so coming out of half, little side note about Rocco Pano. So Rocco is one of our seniors that had an ACL repair this summer. Found out he tore his ACL this summer, had surgery. He's been rehabbing the whole season. Comes to practice every day, supports his teammates, and he just got cleared for, like serious physical activity last week. And so he asked if he could dress. I said, sure. Can I go through pregame? I said, sure. He asked can I get in and catch a ball? I said, well, we need to ask Coach Phillips. So Coach Phillips signed off on it as long as he wasn't going to get tackled. So the story behind this play right here is we inserted Rocco back when we had the ball in about the 30, and we put Griffin Edwards out there in front of him. We stacked him behind Griffin, and the plan was to throw Rocco the ball and Rocco catch it and step out of bounds and not get tackled. Well, the first time we do it, they roll the safety over there and they have too many people. We can't throw it, so we hand it off and we get yards. So we call it again. They do the same thing. We hand it off and we get yards. Next thing we know, we're on the 5. So now they bring the safety, as you can see right here, off the edge. So Max does throw it to Rocco, who has a newly surgically repaired ACL, and he dives in the end zone to get his score. So not only did Rocco get to catch a pass and step out of bounds, he got to catch a pass and score a touchdown. That's what the celebration was for. That's all the seniors down there celebrating with Rocco. So
my son told me how hard he's worked to get back just for that one moment. So
that's right.
I'm glad it paid off for him.
That's right. So proud of Rocco there. Now the next touchdown was Elijah Steele. We just do what we do. We call a run play, and we had numbers, so we throw it out to Elijah on the bubble screen, and we had good blocking, and Elijah made about 4 guys miss and broke a couple tackles and looked really strong going into the end zone. That's the Elijah we want to see more of, especially going into the playoffs. We need him playing confident like he did on this play. And then our last touchdown of the night came from Blake Dixon. Once again, quarterbacks just taking what the defense was giving them. We throw a little out route, and Blake turns it up the sideline and gets determined to, he doesn't make a move or anything, just gets vertical and looks like he's going to go down at one point right here, and then reverses field, gets to the middle and punches it in. And everybody that's seen the JV games all year have seen Blake make plays like this.
We have seen that.
So I think what we learned was that all of our guys that have been making plays on Thursday nights are talented kids that we're deeper than we probably might have thought we were, early in the season. And, it shows us why we played so well on Thursday night JV games.
Well, it was a fun season for sure and a good one. So congratulations to those kids. Let's talk about the DNA kids for the week.
So when you score 77 points and shut out somebody, there's a lot of discussion about a lot of choices. But we decided let's go with some guys that have not been recognized before as we go into this week, and so our DNA this week, number one, our attitude guy was Colton Wilder. Colton played every snap on defense. Colton's a sophomore linebacker that's got a bright future in our program. He's very strong, physical player, and we gave him the Attitude Award just because, not for 1 week or 1 game, but just for a whole season of being a sophomore and not getting to play as much as he probably would have wanted. But, for a sophomore, he's not pouted. He's not had a bad attitude. He's just showed up every day and been determined to get better, and so we're really proud of Colton. And then our Compete Award went to Nick McWilliams. Nick came to me earlier in the week and said, Coach, man, can I get on kickoff? I want to run down and help our team on kickoff. And we let him do that the other night. He did a great job being the first one down the field. Probably will continue to let him rep there. But for a guy that just wants to get on the field somehow, some way, and contribute to the team, he's got a competitive spirit about him. So we gave him the Compete Award. Our Tough Award went to Derek Schroeder, senior safety. Dislocated his thumb a couple weeks ago against Heritage. Hadn't missed a beat. Wears a cast. Played great the other night. Didn't miss a tackle against Turner with his cast on. Derek's a tough kid. He's mentally tough. He's physically tough, and we're proud of Derek and the job that he's doing for us in his role. And then Family Award went to Jason Short. Jason's one of those guys that's had some injury early on in the season, couldn't get healthy, but he's coming on now and getting better. And he's a family guy. He cares about his teammates. He'll do whatever he can to help his teammates be successful, and he showed that the other night. Our Discipline Award went to Josh Logan, a sophomore offensive lineman for us. Josh graded out really high the other night in his first varsity game, and actually his second varsity game. We moved him up and down from the JV a couple times this year, but Josh, very dependable, disciplined in his job and his assignments, and we're proud of the job that he's doing. And then last, our Fight Award goes to no one other than Rocco Pano. The fight to he wanted to be a part of this team so bad. He fought his tail off to get his rehab done faster than he should have, just for the chance of getting to run through the tunnel. I don't think in his wildest dreams he would have expected to score a touchdown. He just wanted to suit out and run through the tunnel. And for him to get it capped off with a touchdown, so proud of that kid.
Well, good for him. Well, that's it. We move on now to, as you call, Season 2. Mm-hmm. Playoffs are here. We get to go to Azle, back to where we started from. They're 9-1, the one being Game 1 against Grapevine. Right. But as you and your coaching staff get ready to prepare, talk about what playoffs mean, what it looks like behind the scenes, the part that nobody sees.
Well, so we walk in the field house Friday night after the game, and, as soon as we won the game and Heritage won their game, it was locked. We were going to play Azle. So immediately, I'm on the phone with Azle's head coach, and we start trading video via, huddle. And we trade 9 games because we already had the one. So we trade 9 games. So all at one time, we have this just huge amounts of data and video to wade through, a whole season worth of watching Azle. And it takes time, it takes time, and our coaching staff, they work tirelessly, on late Friday nights, early Saturday mornings, inputting data based on what the video shows, and then we take all that information and compile it. We usually get finished compiling that around 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Coaches start to kind of filter out around 4 to 5 on Saturday afternoon, and then we go home and spend a couple hours with our family. And I think most coaches are like me. We turn the video back on at some point on Saturday night before we go to bed and watch a little bit more, and then Sundays, coaches get in the office at different times. We have a staff meeting at 1:30 where we begin our work day, and we work until we feel like we have a plan that's simple yet effective to give our kids a chance to win. And, sometimes, Matt, that takes us into 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, Heck, we've had some nights where we're up there Sunday nights till 10 or 11, and then, back in the field house at 5:45 the next morning. So it's a process. We do it because we love it, You don't get overtime pay for it, but the overtime pay is when our kids are successful and they're in position to win. That's what our job is.
Well, I don't think anybody, if you really pay attention and you get to drive by the field house on a regular basis like I do, and you see on Saturday and Sunday, you got a parking lot full of coaches' cars.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody who understands what's going on behind the scenes doubts the extra effort that goes into it. So we appreciate that, and we look forward to seeing what you come up with Friday night. So it'll be Friday night, 7 o'clock in Azle. Anything else you want to add before we get on to the playoff season?
Sure. We need your support, Mustang Nation. I know it's a drive out there to Azle. 8:20 is a beast on a Friday afternoon for sure. Leave early and get there. Azle, Texas will be a wild place on Friday night. I went out and watched them play Colleyville Heritage last year, first round game at Azle, and it's a different environment. It's a fun environment. Their student body will be rowdy. Their fans will be rowdy. So we need all the help we can get. Our Mustangs are going to be ready to play, so come support us, please.
And you'll have the JV and freshmen wearing jerseys and sweats and jeans on the sideline.
Yes,
So
sir.
we appreciate those guys coming out. We'll need their support as well. But again, as he said, leave early. We had a tough trip last time. Those of you who went remember and know what I'm talking about. But don't forget Men Breakfast of Champions, 7 o'clock Friday morning. You know the drill. Be there. It's worth being there. It works for not just the players, but even adults like myself have learned a lot just through the lessons we've received from those men. So we appreciate all those guys coming. We will see you there, 7 o'clock Friday night in Azle. Coach, thanks again. Coach Booth, thanks for producing. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching the Coach Alexander Show. For all your real estate needs, you can visit me at compass.com. Go Mustangs!